Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander's Forge. My name is Andy Bentley, and the Commander's Forge is an area for me to talk about Magic, Commander, and anything else while I try and work on this whole mental health thing. Now, last week I didn't record because I wasn't feeling well, because, 'tis the season of scratchy voices. But we're back at it again this week with an interesting thought that kind of popped up when I was playing some games with my cousin and a couple of friends over the weekend. And it was right before we started playing. I was sitting next to my cousin. We were talking, and we had done the Avatar pre-release, and we were telling our friends about it. And I mentioned how I didn't really have any plans to buy a ton of sealed product for Avatar. And my cousin kind of hit me with the same notion. Like, he's leaning away from buying sealed product and looking more into buying singles like I've been doing. And I get it. The man is trying to buy a house right now. So I get it. But it got me thinking how different my collecting of the game has been even just in the last 2 years. I was buying every Commander Precon. Now it's more, well, that one looks cool, so I guess I'll pick it up. It's just, I don't necessarily need to open a full booster box of a thing when I could spend maybe a little more money and get all of the cards I want out of that. So, it's just the evolution of collecting and playing this game. That said, I'm still a brewer. I still get random deck ideas and I'll throw stuff together. But I'm more likely to use what I have on hand than to go out of my way to buy something for a deck I want to try. I might get to a point where I'm like, okay, I do want to build this deck. I do know there's some cards I want to get for it, and so I will, go and buy those and go from there. It just kind of dawned on me that, I don't want to go out of my way to get all of the sealed product. You know what I mean? This was really evident with the Final Fantasy set because I wasn't paying those prices. No. And sure, there's still stuff I want from that set, but again, I'm not paying those prices. And yeah. So it was just kind of a thought that occurred to me about how my own habits in the game have changed in the last couple of years, let alone from when I started playing. I mean, when you look at when I first got into the game, I wouldn't even touch blue at all. Now, I have a grudging respect for it. Yeah, that's really kind of all I had to talk about right now. Mostly been keeping my head down when it comes to Magic news. I did see a thing about the Monster Hunter Secret Lair being pulled because people weren't happy with it and they were going to redesign it or something like that. But what do I know? I'm just a nerd. That said, I am going to cut off here. And when I get back, I'm going to talk about a deck that I'm actually putting back together because when I first built it, didn't have what I needed to make it work. But now I have more cards that work with it. So we're putting it back together. And we're back. Now, the deck that I had previously had together but then took apart a while back. Started as Ailey Eternal Pilgrim, which is a 2/3 core cleric for white and black. But then I changed it out for Aura Skyclave Hierophant, and ended up changing the deck a lot, because when it was Ailey it was more token based, and then Aura came in and made it more cleric based. So it's 2 white black for a 3/3 core cleric with lifelink. Whenever it or another cleric you control dies, return target cleric card with lesser converted mana cost from your graveyard to the battlefield. So originally I just built it as random clerics, just whatever I had on hand. But this time around there's 2 to 3 sub-themes in the deck. One is getting creatures into the graveyard. Another one is getting creatures out of the graveyard. And the third one is like a life gain, life loss thing. So the stuff from Bloomhaven, the clerics from Bloomhaven really lean into the whole like life loss and life gain thing. Things like Moonrise Cleric, which is 1 and then 2 hybrid Orzhov, or a 2/3 black cleric with flying, but whenever it attacks you gain life. Then you have things like Essence Channeler, which is 1 and a white for a 2/1 bat cleric that says as long as you've lost life this turn, it has flying and vigilance. Whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and whenever it dies, you can put its counters on target creature you control. We have, Elias Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim, which is a white and a black for a 2/2 Phyrexian core cleric. It has Death Touch. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life, and whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Again, already went over Ailey, so I don't need to go over her again. Well, who she is. But she is a core cleric. She has Death Touch. You can pay 1 and sacrifice another creature. You gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. And you can pay 1, a white and a black, to sacrifice another creature to exile target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only if you have at least 10 more life than your starting life total. So she is one of our sack outlets. We have a bunch of those, but as far as creatures go, we also have Uprooted Ancestor, which is 2 and a black for a 3/2 Spirit Cleric. It has Flash, and for 1 and sacrifice another creature, this creature gains Indestructible till end of turn. Tap it. We have Shadowheart Dark Justiciar for 3 and a black. You get a 3/4 Human Elf Cleric. And for 1 and a black and tap, you can sacrifice another creature, draw X cards, where X is the creature's power. I also have to choose a background, but we're not doing that. We have a Starlit Soothsayer, which is 2 and a black for a 2/2 bat cleric with flying. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, surveil 1, so it's another way to get things into our graveyard. Next up, we have Taborax Hope's Demise, 2 and a black for a 2/2 demon cleric with flying. It has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Taborax. If the creature was a cleric, you may draw a card. If you do, lose a life. We have Vicona the Drow Apostate, 2 and a black for a 2/3 elf cleric. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, return a creature card at random from your graveyard to your hand. It also has choose a background. Next up, in the things that put things in the graveyard, we have Afirja, Judge of Valor, which is 2, a white and 2 black for a 2/4 Angel Cleric with flying and lifelink. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Yeah. Next up, we have the Star Charter. 3 and a white for a 3/1 bat cleric with flying. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal a creature card with power 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you'll notice a slight trend here, I don't think anything that I've pulled to talk about has more than 3 power. So that seems to be the case. But next up we have the Custody Squire. It is 4 and a white for a 3/3 Spirit Cleric. It is flying. Will the Council, when it enters the battlefield, starting with me, each player votes for an artifact, creature, or enchantment card in my graveyard. Return each card with the most votes or tied for the most votes to my hand. After that, we have the Bishop of Rebirth, which is 3 white for a 3/4 Vampire Cleric with Vigilance, and whenever it attacks, you can return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Next up, we have the Cleric of Life's Blood. It is a white and a black for a 2/2 Vampire Cleric. Whenever another cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Cleric of Life's Blood. Let's see what else do I have in here that's actually a cleric. We have White Plume Adventurer. 2 and a white for a 3/3 Orc Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, untap a creature you control. If I've completed a dungeon, I untap all the creatures I control instead. And I think the last cleric specifically that I want to talk about here is Minu White Mage, which is 3 white for a 3/3 human cleric with Vigilance and Lifelink. And whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on each cleric you control. Now, there's plenty of stuff in here that aren't clerics. You have instants, sorceries, artifacts, all that jazz. There are a couple non-clerics in the deck. Like Gary, which is just a good card. But also, Harper Recruiter. 2 and a white for a 3/1 human warrior. It has flying, and then whenever Harper Recruiter attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal a cleric, a rogue, a warrior, and or a wizard from among them, put them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, I'm not ever going to find the other things, but digging 4 deep for a cleric off the top 4 seems like a pretty good idea. Now, there are a few creature type specific cards in the deck. Not a ton of them, but I do have Patriarch's Bidding, which is 3 black for a sorcery. Each player chooses a creature type, returns all creature cards of the type chosen this way from the graveyard to the battlefield. And then I have the Invasion of New Capenna, which is white and a black for battle. And it comes in with 4 the whatever counters they're called. And when it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice an artifact or creature. When you do, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. So this kind of feeds into a couple of things. We can remove a thing, but also fill our graveyard. But when it flips, it turns into the Holy Frazzle Cannon. It's an equipment. It equips for 1. And it says, when equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and each other creature control that shares a creature type with it. So, not cleric specific, but we kind of make it cleric specific. Now, a big part of how I'm building the deck this time that wasn't there the last time is multiple ways to sacrifice creatures. And there's a lot more than there used to be. And so I just want to go through some of those. Things like Illicit Shipment, which is 3 black for a sorcery, has Casualty 3. If you don't remember, Casualty is you can sacrifice a creature with power 3 or greater when you do copy the spell. And this is search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. We have Scrounge for Eternity, which is 2 and a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Return target creature or spacecraft card with mana value 5 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, then create a lander token. This kind of pulls double duty because we can sacrifice one thing. If Aura's out, we'll bring back something, and then we'll also bring back another thing. And then there's Corrupted Conviction, Nasty End, and Deadly Dispute, which all roughly do the same thing. They each have, as an additional cost, sack a creature, Deadly Dispute, you can also sacrifice an artifact. But they each at least draw 2 cards. So Corrupted Conviction is a single black for an instant. Additional cost, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Nasty End is 1 and a black for an instant. Additional cost, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, draw 3 instead. And Deadly Dispute is 1 and a black for an instant. Again, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2, and create a treasure token. We also have Eaten Alive and Lash of the Balrog, which are roughly the same. They're both a single mana, both sorceries. Eaten Alive is additional cost, sack a creature or pay 3 and a black, exile a creature or planeswalker. Lash of the Balrog is the same thing, but destroy a creature, I believe. But that kind of leads me into the other side of what the deck really wants to be doing a lot of, and that is ripping creatures out of graveyard. And there's a couple that also facilitate filling our graveyard. So first up, there's Victimize, 2 and black sorcery. Choose 2 creature cards in your graveyard. Sack a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. And then the other one is Dread Return, which at its core is 2 black. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield as a sorcery, but it has flashback, sacrifice 3 creatures. So, again, kind of facilitates both. But moving into just pure reanimation spells, we have Coiling Rebirth, which is 3 black for a sorcery. You can gift a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then if the gift was promised and that creature isn't legendary, you can create a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1. We have Emerge from the Cocoon, which is 4 and a white for a sorcery. Return creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain 3 life, so that kind of also plays into the life gain side of things we want to do. It doesn't add up is 3 black for an instant to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield and suspect it. That means it has menace and can't block, but bringing something back at the end step so that you can then attack with the next turn. After that, we have Unburial Rites, which is 4 and a black for a sorcery. Return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield, and it has flashback for 3 and a white. So, yeah. And then I think the last card I want to talk about is Season of Loss. It's 3 black for a sorcery. You can choose up to 5 paws worth of modes, and you can choose the same mode more than once. So for 1 paw, each player sacrifices a creature. For 2 paws, you can draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn. And for 3 paws, each opponent loses X life for X's number of creature cards in your graveyard. So I see this as being decent in the middle to late game, because if we just need to do some board management, you can just choose everybody sacrifices 5 creatures, which in most mid-game board states, that's going to be almost a full board wipe. But say you're mid-game and you only have 3 creatures to sacrifice. Well, do 3 of each player sacrifices a creature, then spend your last 2 on drawing a card for each creature you control that died this turn. So that way you're at least replacing the 3 creatures you lost with 3 cards. But again, if it's super late game and your graveyard is really full, you can have everybody sacrifice 2 creatures and then have each opponent lose X life, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So it's very versatile, and it's yeah. So I don't know. I haven't played the deck yet, but I'm almost ready to. I've got a couple of new decks that I want to take out for a spin. I've got this. I've got squirrels that I just put together. I've got the Yasholta Precon built out. It's just, yeah, fun stuff coming in the House of Bentley. But that's it being said, I think I'm going to call it there. I have more stuff I have to do today. So I'm going to call it, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. All of my links can be found in my link tree in the description below. I would like to thank Ian Foss and Cody Mulvey of the band The Crypt for allowing me to use music for my opening and ending, along with Nate and Erica Jacobs for making my original logo. And I would also like to thank Christina McNichol for creating my new logo. And I'll see you next time.